Hello, this is Tim. I'm just starting to grade your paper, and I'm using a new screen capture thing, so let's see how this works. Uh, this is all really good. I meant to do these in yellow. These should be yellow. So these are your to-be verbs. We want to just rewrite all these to-be verbs as active verbs. So pure rock and roll was shelved as a genre. You can say, other genres predominated in this period or something. Say anything but that in that passive construction there, okay? A lot of these British young men in the 40s 50s grew up listening to artists such as Bill Haley and the Comets, music with a similar sound, okay. In your first graph, it's not so much, you want to talk about the larger picture here. So it's not just Buddy Holly. It's Carl Perkins and Little Richard and Chuck Berry getting arrested. There's a number of forces here, and it's not actually that the genre goes into decline. It's that some major figures actually leave the stage, and there's a popular misperception that it's in decline. I can talk to you about this, but you should consult your Wayne Robbins book for more detail on that. Okay. Individuality, and a large part of that was, okay, so every to-be verb here is, I'm going to be marking, I want this yellow. Don't make me go all the way up there. Where's the yellow part now? I hate this now. It's a totally different interface. Oh, here we go. Yes, yellow. Okay, was the way their music touched the souls. Okay, touching souls is kind of a cliche. According to everybody, all musicians touch your soul. It's like, yeah, just avoid that. It's really we just don't want to use that. The Beatles balance instrumentals, composition, and vocals to best reflect the underlying theme of the song, which, in this case, is the push. So here we have another to-be verb. The push for vulnerability. This is kind of awkward. I don't know what you mean by that. Do you mean the impulse to vulnerability, the longing for vulnerability, the trying to avoid vulnerability? I just don't know what you mean here, and we want to be really clear. A prime example of how they did that is through, all right, so you see how we got lots of to-be verbs here, is through this song, You've Got to Hide from Up the Health album. The track was first released 6 months after being recorded in the UK on the 6th of August and was made a week after. It was composed by the Beatles' own John Lennon, still during the time while George Martin handled the production. Okay. Still during their time at the record label Parlophone, handled the production. They were at Parlophone their whole time, so we don't need to say that. George Martin always produced them, except for one notable exception. We can start, so we don't even say that. Just do it. Don't say you're going to do it, just do it. The first verse starts out with, so just jump to the first verse. Make a new paragraph here. That's what that means. Oops, not quite. Here, it's hard to draw. That is the new paragraph symbol. Pretty cool, huh? There. Start the new paragraph there. Okay. The first verse starts out with head and hands turn my face to the wall. All right, looks like you need a space here. These lyrics reflect feelings of losing someone you love and how it might feel like it takes something away from yourself as well. Yes, very good. I like this. This is very observant. Good listening. Big check mark there. Excellent. It also reflects feelings of losing your pride and not feeling like a big man because the effort and love that you give to someone was somehow not reciprocated. Somehow, again, is another one of these words. Don't just say it was not reciprocated. It was not. Somehow, it just is wordy, regardless of the circumstance. The instruments used, I believe, and again, we're critics. We don't have to keep saying this. This is very obvious, I believe. This is your belief. It's It's part of the superstructure of the whole essay. This is all your belief. It consists of 2 acoustic guitars, a bass and snare drum, which appears right on the accented beat of the intro and is maintained throughout the entire song. The vocals begin on the 1 beat of the first verse. Very observant. The disheartened melody line John maintains throughout all of the verses, vary only between, we don't have to say all of the verses, you just say throughout. Okay? Only vary between 5 notes, which plays into the mood of depression that is meant to be, this is a naked passive construction, to be portrayed in the song. So you just say, which plays into the mood of the depression the song portrays, right? That gets rid of your passive, right? Moving on to the second verse, and again, you don't want to say moving on. You just say in the second verse. You just say in the second verse, which usually go on only is. This is probably you mean in. I hope that's what you mean there. That looks like a question mark. That you have been rejected by someone. In love, we put our effort into a certain individual, and when the pain is not put into us, is not or reciprocated, I think you mean is not returned. It is usually, sorry, here we go. It is, that's a to be verb. That's a to be verb. Usually taken us, putting yourself out there. Taken as, is that what you mean? Taken as, putting yourself out there and being shut down. It is a vulnerability we hesitate to show. And when we do, the outcome is not favorable. See all this passive stuff? It somehow no longer becomes a private event. Yes, that's really interesting, actually. It feels public, even if private. That's an interesting idea. I like that. The self-consciousness reflects through our daily lives, and it is and feeling. I think you mean a there, and it is a feeling we have all experienced. So you can just say, it's a universal emotion. Instrumentation is the same as the first verse, but with a tambourine every other measure in order to differentiate it from the first one. Vocals are stronger and sharper as opposed to the first verse. During the chorus, which is, hey, you've got to repeat it twice, the instrumentation remains the same with the tambourine in addition to the maracas, which only stay consistent till the end of the chorus. I think the song also reflects their fear of being scrutinized in the eyes of the public. They were, I like this idea too, they were one of the biggest and hottest acts of the 60s, so anything they did was automatically newsworthy. Very good. In verses 3 and 4, this is, come on, kept pretty much the same as the second verse. Okay, well, I'll let you get away with this. The third, fourth, don't usually like that construction. These feelings progress into sheltering yourself from the public as if the embarrassment is coming from individuals around you, telling that this is a passive verb hiding in a contraction. Better to just keep your feelings to yourself. However, the song takes a turn, or a volta, if you will, with the lyric. Gather round all you clowns. Need a space here. I don't know what you mean by the word volta, but I'm fascinated. Maybe you can write me a note about that. I'm going to look that up afterwards. Lennon specifically calls whomever places judgment on him. Judgment is quite often spelled wrong. It does not have this E. It's one of the most commonly misspelled words. On him clowns to signify the stupidity and immaturity of hiding behind your feelings. Good. Clowns. Good. I like that. The chorus is repeated once more, and the maracas and timer continue until the end of the song with the addition of a flute and a saxophone. No, it's not a saxophone. I'm curious what it is you're hearing there you think is a saxophone. Now this is just acting up on me. See what I have to put up with? Here, I'll do that. No, all right, I'm going to do this. Don't like that either. Get rid of that. All right, ignore that. Ignore that. Is a little underwhelming right after the chorus end, but seems fit when the last knot turns up at the end. But seems fit when the last knot turns up at the end. This is very awkward here. Do you see that? So if you read it aloud to yourself, you'll see you need to rewrite that. I'm going to do blue on that. Weird. Okay. Double tracking, which is often used. So this is... No, that's not right. See what I put up with here? Look at how this thing is jerking me around. Come on. Alright, boom. Alright, I just want yellow here now. Okay, is often used to hide vocal imperfections. Was not used in this song, right? Good, so I think the larger point is no vocal harmonies. All right, so then I want to ask you, what is the effect of that? No vocal harmonies, right? The Beatles are renowned for their vocal harmonies. They have vocal harmonies in virtually every song, or at least a high percentage of their early songs especially have vocal harmonies. Why do they choose to do this one without vocal harmonies? That's what you want to ask, and what's the effect of that? Okay. John's raw vocals all the way through, culminating in the hey of the chorus. It is... So this is really easy. Your ideas are really good, and if you get rid of all these passive verbs, it's going to lift your writing up to a whole new level. Quite fitting with the subject matter at hand, reflecting the purposeful vulnerability of him as a person and as an artist. Yes, they haven't. What do you say purposeful? Is it as opposed to accidental? I'm not sure this is the right word here. Purposeful vulnerability. I didn't want to choose the whole line. I just want that one word there. Purposeful. Him as a person and as an art. They haven't included any harmonization either across the track, which shows recognition that the experience of showing someone's vulnerability is a solo journey. Exactly. That's what I was hoping you would say. And now we can say something like the effect to the tone of the song results in a forlorn, lonely, isolated, it's an interior monologue, really, right? That's what you want to emphasize there. First track to use a session musician since 1960. First track to use a session musician. All right, this is an incomplete sentence here. Again, this is why reading aloud really can help you. I think the balance between musician and print is almost 50-50. You want to say, use an active verb there. When they are added, when they are not, I didn't even touch that word. Why is it? God, I hate this program so much sometimes. Okay, the rawness, I like rawness of Lennon's voice, and the measures coincide with the instrumental measures. I noticed, and backing this up with some research, this is obvious. I noticed that the second and fourth verse are lengthened into 20 measures. Yes, they have different lengths as opposed to the first and third, which are made up of 18. I think Lennon made this choice in order to let the last line of the second and fourth verses hang in the air for a little bit before the chorus hits the listener. For me, those were the strongest parts of the song and helped to strengthen the effect of the simple chorus. Excellent. That is a very cool idea. I like that a lot. Yes, he does stretch out those lines to create more tension. I think, we don't say this as critics, I think, we're just critics. The song overall, and pretty consistent, you don't say pretty consistent, you just say consistent. Come on, why does it put it there when I just put it up here? measures and use of instruments. Although they do have the maracas and tamina, they do not do much to differentiate the verses from each other, right? The most distinct transition